Good afternoon, everybody. This is Eric Holloway with the National Weather Service with Alaska statewide weather for October 7th, 2020. We have a 1-800 number for you to further refine your weather search and look into any watch warnings and advisories. We also have a weather page, weather.gov/Alaska. And lastly, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please email us at the email listed at the bottom of the page. We do have a couple advisories and warnings to talk about. We are looking at a high wind warning for 11 p.m. this evening till 4 p.m. Friday afternoon for Alaska Peninsula and portions of the Eastern Aleutians. And we also have a coastal flood advisory in effect from 1 p.m. Friday until 1 a.m. Saturday, and that's for that Bristol Bay area. So please use that phone menu system or the web to look into those two hazardous areas further. We are going with our Winter Awareness Week, and that continues today and tomorrow, but let's get ready to measure some snow. We like to see everybody have basically a piece of plywood with a flag on it so you can sure find that in any heavy snow showers. Find a nice little place out in the backyard away from tall trees or a building of some kind. Set it up out in your backyard and anywhere that you can find, basically, and measure the snow. We like to see you measure the snow the same time every day if possible. That'd be great, and to the nearest 1/10 of an inch. And be sure to get out there when the snow stops if you can, and so that you can measure that properly before any drifting and settling occurs. And again, reporting those snow conditions, you can go to weather.gov, or you can find us on social media as well. We have 3 offices here in the state: Anchorage, Juneau, or Fairbanks. That would be great. Help us out there. So looking at the satellite image, you can see the low near St. Paul wrapping up with common cloud associated with that, snow showers, rain showers associated with that, coming into the southwest. Also, as you watch that system, some lingering snow showers through much of the interior, and we had some light rain here in Anchorage as well. Also, with an occluder front approaching the Panhandle, it looked like within the last 6 hours they had anywhere from 1/4 to 1/2 inch over the southern end of the mainland, southern end of the Panhandle, but otherwise some light snow showers across the interior Alaska Range and mountainous areas, and also extends up into the Brooks Range. Speaking of the Brooks Range and North Slope, some freezing fog up there around a 1,000 millibar low. Otherwise, high pressure poking into south central, 1,006 millibars there, and there's those lingering snow showers across the mountainous areas. Some rain showers reported at low elevations of south central. Otherwise, a occluder front approaching the Panhandle, 1,000 millibar low there, with rain and snow showers further inland, and a 980 millibar low out there in the eastern Bering Sea. Moderate to heavy rain associated with that, with the triple point pushing through the eastern Aleutians, causing that warning out there in the Alaska Peninsula with high winds and coastal activity, coastal erosion there in Bristol Bay region. So tonight's weather, looking at that low, continued to push eastward, now showing up near the YK Delta 969 millibar low with an occluder front. Mixed precipitation out through much of the southwest, snow showers you get further in across the interior, and rain moderate to heavy in Prince William Sound, eastern Kenai Peninsula. Otherwise, some lingering snow and rain showers out there in the Panhandle. Triple point moves through near Kodiak, and mixed precipitation across much of the southwest and into the Seward Peninsula and northern Bering Sea. Rain showers out through much of the Bering and Aleutians now, and that's for tonight. And for Friday's weather, looking at that low to essentially break apart into two systems, now a 983 millibar low in the northern Gulf. Moderate to heavy rain expected by Friday across the Panhandle. Snow showers further inland across the coastal mountains and across much of the mountains in the southeast interior, Alaska Range, Chugach Range, and Wrangell St. Elias Mountains, and portions of the interior. Otherwise, some fog, freezing fog along the north slope with some snow showers up there. There's the second piece of that system now, a 972 millibar low now in the southwest area with a weakened includer front and continued mixed precipitation associated with that system. For Saturday's weather, that low continues to weaken in the Gulf, 995 millibar low there with lingering rain and snow showers in the Panhandle. Snow showers across much of the mountainous areas of south central, and that extends up into the interior along the Yukon Basin. And there's the next low and included front showing up there in the western and central Aleutians with moderate to heavy rain associated with that system. And lastly, some lingering snow showers along the north slope. For low temperatures, looking at for the southern portions of the mainland and into the Panhandle, looking at Ketchikan at 42, 42 in Sitka, 38 in Juneau, 39 in Yakutat, Valdez 35, 37 in Anchorage, 35 in Kenai, Homer 38, 42 in Kodiak, 37 in King Salmon, and 33 in McGrath, and 31 in Talkeetna. For Friday afternoon, 49 in Ketchikan, 47 in Sitka, 47 in Juneau, 47 in Haines, 49 in Yakutat, 45 in Valdez, 47 in Anchorage, 46 in Kenai, 51 in Kodiak, 47 in King Salmon, 42 in McGrath, and 38 in Talkeetna. For low temperatures, Saturday morning, 42 in Ketchikan, Sitka 43, 41 in Juneau, 41 in Haines, 41 in Yakutat, 37 in Valdez, 37 in Anchorage, 35 in Kenai, 39 in Homer, 42 in Kodiak, 35 in King Salmon, 30 in McGrath, 35 in Talkeetna. For high temperatures Saturday afternoon, 50 in Ketchikan, 48 in Sitka, 48 in Juneau, 49 in Haines, 48 in Yakutat, Valdez, 46 in Anchorage, 47 in Kenai, 49 in Homer, Kodiak 50, King Salmon 46, 40 in McGrath, and 40 in Talkeetna. Moving to the north slope and interior, looking at 25 in Ukqiavik, 18 in Dead Horse, 31 in Point Hope, 35 in Nome, 28 in Bettles, 31 in Tanana, 32 in Galena, 27 in Fairbanks, and 23 in Northway. For high temperatures Friday afternoon, 36 in Northway, 42 in Fairbanks, 40 in Tanana, 40 in Galena, 42 in Nome, 34 in Point Hope, 29 in Ukqiavik, 26 in Dead Horse, 27 in AKwx Pass, and 29 in Arctic Village. For low temperatures Saturday morning, looking at 25 in Northway, 28 in Fairbanks, 29 in Tanana, 30 in Galena, 32 in Nome, 28 in Point Hope, 24 in Ukqiavik, 21 in Dead Horse, 13 in AKwx Pass, 16 in Arctic Village. And looking at high temperatures Saturday afternoon, 38 in Northway, 39 in Fairbanks, 40 in McGrath, 39 in Galena, 38 in Nome, 32 in Point Hope, Ukqiavik 29, Dead Horse 28, AKwx Pass 20, Arctic Village 27, and Fort Yukon 37. For low temperatures down through the southwest, Alaska Peninsula and Aleutians for Friday morning, 37 in Antioch, 38 in Bethel, 39 in Dillingham, 41 in Cold Bay, Dutch Harbor 43, Shemya 43, and 38 in St. Paul. For high temperatures Friday afternoon, 44 in Bethel, 46 in Dillingham, 48 in Cold Bay, 48 in Dutch Harbor, 50 in Shemya. And lastly, for low temperatures Saturday morning, looking at Antioch 36, Bethel 38, 37 in Dillingham, 42 in Chignik, 38 in Dutch Harbor, 38 in Cold Bay, 43 in Dutch Harbor.
And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Taking a look at the aviation forecast, starting with the flying weather for Friday morning. We'll be dealing with a low pressure center in the southwest that will be transitioning over to the Gulf of Alaska with an occluder front stretched out from there over into the Gulf of Alaska. So IFR conditions throughout much of Alaska, North Slope down to the southwest and into the Cook Inlet region and into the northern Gulf. Marginal conditions spread out through the Panhandle. With Friday afternoon, looking at that occluder front again approaching southeast Alaska, and again we're going to be seeing some turbulence, low-level turbulence, especially along the Alaska Peninsula. But otherwise, some IFR conditions through much of the southwest, into the portions of the Bristol Bay, over into upper Cook Inlet, into south central, and then over to the Panhandle with that occluder front showing up there. Otherwise, marginal conditions through much of the interior and along the North Slope. For Saturday morning, IFR conditions, again with that low lingering out there in the southwest, IFR conditions out there stretching over into south central and into the eastern interior. Otherwise, also IFR conditions along the North Slope with some areas of fog up there. And with the next system coming into Aleutians, IFR conditions out there and improving conditions down in the southeast. For Saturday afternoon, lingering conditions, but otherwise proving to marginal conditions across much of the southern mainland. Still lingering areas of IFR conditions through the YK Delta into portions of the northeast Gulf Coast and northern portions of the Panhandle and along the North Slope. And again with that next system coming into Aleutians, some IFR conditions out there. For past conditions on Friday, AKwx went for IFR conditions. You could see some marginal conditions there by later in the day. And for Adigan, IFR conditions there, but again, possible marginal conditions, but I just went for IFR conditions the entire day. For Lake Clark and Merrill down in Alaska range, looking at IFR conditions there, and rainy, much the same. Windy, IFR improving to marginal. Isabel, IFR improving to marginal as well. And Mentasta, you likely see some marginal conditions out there in the eastern interior. And for Tanita, down into south central, looking at IFR conditions there. And over in Prince William Sound, Portage, looking at IFR conditions for Friday. And for Chilkoot and White, marginal decreasing to IFR conditions as that front shows up there. For freezing levels Friday morning, looking at anywhere between 2 and 10,000 feet, even 12,000 feet poking into the Gulf of Alaska, otherwise elevated freezing level to 2,000 feet cutting across the southern mainland into the Panhandle. Surface conditions, surface freezing level cutting across the Panhandle into the North Gulf over into the western portion of the mainland and over to Russia, otherwise below freezing across much of the rest of the mainland. For icing conditions between 2 and 6,000 feet as you get across the North Slope areas up there in the northwest corner of the state, otherwise between 6 and 10,000 feet, with areas possible of considerable moderate around that low pressure system, otherwise around 10,000 feet and just isolated moderate there in the Panhandle. For the jet stream on Friday, 140 knot jet stream cutting into the Gulf there with westerly conditions there, westerly to southwesterly into the Panhandle, 70 to 80 knots there, 40 knots into Prince William Sound, and back to the easterly as you get into Norton Sound region. Otherwise, as you get out there in the Aleutians, 75 to 85 in a northwesterly fashion coming across much of the Aleutians and even into the Alaska Peninsula. For 9,000 foot winds on Friday, 60 knots there is Alaska Peninsula, otherwise around counterclockwise flow, southerly winds coming into the Panhandle, 50 to 45 there, and again easterly conditions cutting across portions of the Seward Peninsula. And for 3,000 foot winds on Friday, looking at 60 knots there across the southern end of the Alaska Peninsula, 40 to 45 into the Gulf in a southerly fashion, again along that front there. And again for turbulence on Friday, looking at some areas of isolated severe as across the Alaska Peninsula and portions of Aleutians, otherwise considerable moderate across portions of the Panhandle and Southwest and into portions of the interior.
Hello, Star Wishers! Trace here. This week we have the Draconids. They're a sleepy October shower that's typically pretty tame, but rarely the dragon awakes, spitting hundreds of meteors in a single hour. But we won't know which until October 8th when the shower peaks. Either way, it's a great excuse to point out the windy Draco constellation. Hit the skies around midnight and look north. Draco's long tail sits between the Big and Little Dippers and winds up and down toward the west. If it's too dim, use the two dippers and bright blue Vega to create a triangle. That triangle encapsulates Draco's head, and this is where you'll look for the meteors. Like with any shower, dress for the weather, grab something to drink, and find a cozy place to acclimate to the darkness. If you see a meteor, give a roar, have a laugh, and keep looking up.
Have you ever been to the beach and noticed litter like plastic bottles or foam takeout containers on the sand? Or maybe you've been to a river or bay where there's a bag or a car tire stuck in the mud on the shore, or a bunch of deflated balloons that say "Happy Birthday" floating in the water? All of that junk in the water or on the shoreline is considered marine debris. It's anything solid and man-made in the ocean or Great Lakes that is not supposed to be there. And anything people use every day can become marine debris if they don't dispose of it properly. And I mean anything. The most common items we find when we do shoreline cleanups are plastics. But we also find rubber, cloth, glass, metal, and paper litter. Sometimes the debris is so tiny, like a plastic microbead from your face wash, that you can barely see it in the water. Marine debris is more than just trash in the ocean. Sometimes fishers lose their gear like fishing traps, nets, or fishing line, and it continues to drift through the water, catching animals for a long time. We call that derelict fishing gear, and it's marine debris. Have you ever seen an old boat left behind on a shoreline? Abandoned and derelict vessels are also marine debris. So let's review. Anything we use every day can become marine debris if we don't dispose of it properly or if it goes into the water by accident. Marine debris can be very small or can be very big, and anything in between. But most importantly, marine debris is one of the biggest pollution problems facing the world's oceans and waterways today.
How does marine debris impact the ocean, animals, and me? Would you want to swim in a beach littered with trash? Of course not. And the animals who live in the ocean don't either. The difference is, they don't have a choice. Marine species often get tangled in debris, from fishing nets to six-pack rings. If they get caught, they could get injured or even die. And even if they don't get entangled, many animals mistake plastic debris for food and eat it. This fills their stomach with junk they can't digest. Debris can also damage important habitats, like coral reefs, by breaking or smothering them. Corals serve as the base of the marine ecosystem, and impacts here can be felt all the way to you and me. Plus, plastics have harmful chemicals in them. Fish eat plastic, we eat fish. The question is, can those chemicals harm us? Marine debris also hurts the economy. It costs a lot of money to clean up, and people don't want to go to dirty beaches. Boats and ships could run into large pieces of debris too, or get their propellers tangled. We need the ocean and everything in it, and the ocean needs us to keep it free of debris. can we do about marine debris?
A lot of the trash that's in our ocean is plastic.
And that marine debris is hurting our environment, economy, and health.
The problem will only get worse.
Unless we change the way we consume and dispose of products. There are solutions,
And together, we can prevent litter from ending up in the ocean. Some people might say,
well, I'm just one person, so I can't make a difference.
but that's just not true.
If each person who creates trash, and that's just about everyone, took action, it would add up to a whole lot of change.
So what can we do?
Well, the ultimate solution is prevention. And we need to keep that as our highest priority.
We can reduce, reuse, and recycle to keep debris out of the ocean in the first place.
You can bring your own shopping bag, drink out of a reusable bottle, and participate in things like shoreline cleanup.
Join a group cleaning up the beach or grab some friends and clean up your street. It's easy.
Be more conscious of how many disposable plastic items you're using. And if you do,
Where are you putting it? In the trash can? Whoops. Or in the recycling bin?
so here's the challenge. The next time you finish using a throwaway item, a bag, a bottle, or utensil, answer the question, where is this going? Because ultimately, when you throw stuff away, there really is no away. It has to go somewhere.
So keep asking yourself this important question.
How will you keep your trash from becoming marine debris?
And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Taking a look at the marine forecast, starting with the ice edge. Ice forecaster mentions some ice developing along the coastal areas of the Arctic coast there, northwest coast, down around Kotzebue, and north side of the Seward Peninsula. That's the big development there. Looking at the marine forecast for southeast inside waters, winds generally from a southeasterly direction up to 25, seas as high as 5 feet. Outside waters, winds generally from a southerly direction as well, 35 knots, seas as high as 9 feet. For Saturday's forecast for southeast, looking at winds generally from a southerly direction again, 15 to 25 with seas as high as 5 feet in the Lynn Canal. Outside waters, winds generally from a southwesterly direction, 25, seas as high as 15. For south central, winds generally from a southerly direction, 25 to 35 with seas as high as 10 feet there in the northern Gulf. In Prince William Sound, winds generally from the east at 25, seas as high as 6 feet. And through the Cook Inlet region, winds generally from a easterly direction, 20 to 35 with seas as high as 11 feet there. For the south central marine forecast on Saturday, looking at winds generally from a westerly direction, 25 to 35. So look for gales on Saturday. For Prince William Sound, winds generally from the northerly at 10, seas as high as 2 feet. And through the Cook Inlet region, winds variable direction, 10 to 35 with seas as high as 11 feet. So again, look for gale force winds there on Saturday. For Friday's marine forecast, Alaska Peninsula, Kodiak Island, winds around Kodiak Island generally from a southwesterly direction, 35 to 45 with seas as high as 20. South side of Alaska Peninsula, winds generally from the west at 45 with seas as high as 22. So again, looking at something that could be potentially a storm force. North side Alaska Peninsula, winds generally from a southwesterly direction, 40 to 50 with seas as high as 25. So definitely storm force there on Friday. For Saturday, winds calm down. For around Kodiak Island, winds generally from a westerly direction, 35 to 45 with seas as high as 20 feet. And south side of Alaska Peninsula, winds generally from a westerly direction at 40 with seas as high as 18. So look for gales there on Saturday. Much the same on the north side with seas generally up to 20 feet there with winds generally from a westerly direction up to 40. So gales again. For Friday's forecast for Aleutian Chain, winds generally from the west at 30 to 45 with seas as high as 26 feet. So definitely look for gales there on the eastern side of the Aleutians. And for Saturday's Aleutian chain forecast, winds generally from a southerly direction or southwest up to anywhere between 35 and 40 with seas as high as 16 feet there between Kiska and Shemya. Look for gales there on Saturday. For the west coast on Friday, winds generally from the northerly direction 30 to 40 with seas as high as 20 feet, so look for gales down there. And for Saturday, winds variable direction 20 to 40 with seas as high as 17 feet there just off the coast. For Friday's marine forecast, Arctic coast winds generally from the northerly direction up there in the Beaufort Sea 5 to 10 with seas as high as 2 feet. Winds generally from a northeasterly at 25 to 30 down there through the Chukchi Sea, seas as high as 8 feet, and then through the Bering Strait, winds generally from a northern direction 25 to 30, seas as high as 8 feet. And for Saturday, along the Arctic coast there, Beaufort Sea coast, winds generally from the northerly direction 10 to 15 with seas as high as 3 feet, and down through the Chukchi Sea coast, winds generally from a northerly 20 to 25 with seas as high as 7, and down through the Bering Strait, winds northerly to 25 with seas as high as 9 feet. For the surface map, looking at that low breaking apart on Friday, 983 millibar low in the Gulf with moderate to heavy rain along the Panhandle in the northern Gulf with snow showers further inland, and those snow showers cut across into much of central Alaska.
These forecasts are for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating.